Well, it looks like Phil Spencer stepped up to the plate, and he did chat about a ton of hot topics within the world of Xbox. And it's pretty safe to say we got a lot to get through, so let's dig into all that up next. What's going on, guys? It's Kalo, and I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and welcome to the Level Up. I'm sorry, before we get into today's news, I gotta plug a few things because of you guys. This is actually a good thing. Yeah, I do videos for a gaming news website by the name of Game Sandwich, so if you want to go check them out, I'm gonna have links down below. I'm hosting a ton of videos, shorts, reels, whatever have you, and I'm writing some news articles for them, so go check that out as well. And with all that being said, in the great words of the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, what do you guys want to talk about? It's been a year for Xbox, and that's putting it lightly. They've been subject to a ton of self-inflicted wounds, and this is all over poor choices in how they handle, I'd say, a majority of their business. And this is something I have been critical on them in the past about. A bunch of those feelings stem from this general online discourse that is based off no official word from Xbox themselves. And more often than not, I always say to you guys, let's just wait and see what Xbox says, and then we'll work from there. And even saying that, there are a ton of problems with how Xbox themselves talk to the people. More often than not, it's just confusing or a little too broad. A lot of this madness that does eventually break down online normally comes from the Xbox multi-platform strategy, and don't you worry, we're gonna talk about that today. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here, because there was a new interview that was conducted by the ever so great Jason Schreier, and this is all over at Bloomberg. This is where he sat down with Phil Spencer, and this is where he shed a lot more light on a bunch of these rumors. And boy, oh boy, is this one gonna get the people talking. So up first, let's get the quick stuff out of the way here, and let's talk a bit about that ever so elusive Xbox handheld. According to his words here, quote, "The expectation is that we would do something, but this device is years away." Next up is one thing I'm kind of against here, and that's more acquisitions. And to kind of give you a little context to not breeze through this all, in case you do live under a rock, Xbox just conducted one of, if not the biggest acquisition in gaming, and that's all through the Activision Blizzard merger. And we all know how that story went and how difficult it was, so I really can't see another big time deal going down anytime soon. But here's what Phil Spencer had to say exactly on this matter. Quote, "We definitely want to be in the market. And when we can find teams and technology and capability that add to what we're trying to do in gaming at Microsoft, absolutely we will keep our heads up." Now he did add they want to add this quote unquote geographic diversity, and this is where they want to look to Asian-based partners, which is something that Xbox has struggled heavily in the past. But much like I said earlier, Phil said nothing is imminent on this front. Again, this is because of that large-scale deal that was on the table with Activision Blizzard. Next up is the thing I think will generate the most, how do I put this? Calm reactions, no doubt, online, and this is the Xbox multi-platform strategy. You know, because no one really has strong feelings on that. Quote, "I do not see any sort of red lines in our portfolio that say thou must not." And he did go on to say it's pretty early to make any sort of decision on the next Halo game. So, there it is from the horse's mouth. There are the things I tell you to wait for, and now that we've heard about this, let's dive into that a little more. I mean, he's technically not wrong here when saying there's no heavily enforced code of law that says Halo cannot be on the PS5. I do think this is just something that just feels wrong, and there could be a ton of unforeseen implications here. Some of those being good, some of those being bad, and that's all because of this multi-platform strategy. Being the only place to play quote-unquote insert any game's name here has merit within the gaming world. And this is why I speak so highly on platforms like Nintendo and even PlayStation. Those are two examples of companies that have strong exclusives that you can't play anywhere else. But this is a double-edged sword here, because if you've been watching this channel, you are somewhat in tune with the industry at large. Ballooning budgets this, high cost of that, redline this, redline that. We've all heard this all before. And this is where that exclusivity strategy is slowly becoming unsustainable. This is because you're gating off pools of money that could be opened. And this is all because you're putting your games on other platforms, reaching more players. And this is exactly why we've seen the likes of Square Enix go multi-platform, Sony even putting their games on the PC, and we've seen Xbox themselves do the same thing. And when each of those companies did that, their player counts rose, profits rose, and you can kind of see this is beneficial. It's just a weird line these companies have to walk so they don't dilute their various IPs, and it just so happens Xbox is in the thick of it. But negating the quote-unquote need to buy an Xbox in the future because Halo is available anywhere and everywhere else is something that Xbox has to keep in mind down the road. And just like that, you can kind of see how volatile this strategy is and how quick something like this can turn on you. I'm more interested now to see the speculation that spawns from this headline alone, because yeah, I knew the internet would have a field day with this, so sound off in the comments down below. But with all that being said, I'm gonna pass this one off to you guys. What do you think about all this? I really want to hear your reactions. But that about does it here. I've been Kalo, I gave you the lowdown on all things gaming, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content, drop a like on the video, and this has been the Level Up.